Hare Krishna. Today we are going to summarize and revise chapter number 7 of Jaiv Dharam. And before we start that, little vandana to our Gurudev. Om Gyantirbrandandasya Gyananjan Shalakya Chakshrunanintam Yen Tasme Shri Guruve Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. First of all, Dandavat Pranam to my Diksha Guru, and then to the galaxy of all the Shiksha Guru, and all the Vaishnavas, and all the eligible persons who are listening to this audio. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Let's start with the little recapitulation about chapter numbers 6, the immediate previous chapter. The immediate previous chapter we had learnt was about Nitya Dharma, race, and the caste. There we understood and learned from the author of this book, Shri Bhakti Vinod Thakurji, with a commentary of by Shri Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj Ji. There we learnt about Shruti, Mukti, Rati, uh, association with Muslims, association with outcast people, the Varnashrams, and how should we behave. And ultimately, there is no difference between a Brahman and a person who is not a Brahman, as long as they are in line with the worshipping of Krishna Bhagwanji. That is more important. The birth is not important. Whether you are born in a Brahman or a Kshatriya or a Shudra or a Vaishya family, what is important is whether you are in line in worshipping Bhagwanji. That is more important. You become a sadhu or a Vaishnav only by following the footsteps of Krishna Bhagwanji. Now we proceed to chapter number 7, and which is titled The Nitya Dharma and the Material Existence. The chapter starts with the village of goldsmiths, and it was in Saptagram. Fortunately, all the residents over there were worshipping Harinam and doing Sankirtan, except for one family, and that was Chandidas and his wife, Demanti. Chandidas was a very miser person, so he did not want to host, he did not want to spend any money on the Vaishnavas and doing the kirtans, etc. He was all the time saving and saving and saving and accumulating wealth. So that was Chandidas. Now he had accumulated quite a lot of family money, and in his family there were four sons and two daughters. So over the period of time, these daughters had got married, and the children had also grown up. And Chandidas distributed quite a lot of his wealth amongst his children. And then over a period of time, these children also started their own business. But there was greed amongst the children to have the rest of the money of the father also. So the eldest of the children, named Haricharan, he approached his father and said, "Father, why don't you go to Navdeep Dham, a pilgrimage, and chastise your lifetime of your birth? And this will help a lot in accumulating more worshipable things and more pious things and more of spirituality. You will improve your life journey." And this then appealed to Chandidas and his wife. And Haricharan said that you can also take along the maid servant named Vaishnavi. So on a particular day, they all went towards the Navdeep Dham and started on foot, and they rested in the way in a place called Ambika Kalna. Ambika Kalna, they rested over there and they, with the help of the locals over there, started cooking their food over there. And as they were cooking their food over there and was about to eat the food over there, one of the residents of Saptagram recognized Chandidas. So he approached Chandidas and told that back home in Saptagram, where you were living, your children, all the four sons, they have broken open your door of the room where you were living, and they have taken away all your remaining wealth also, and they have distributed among yourself, and now there is no place for you to go back over there. This was very, very shocking for Chandidas. He could hardly take a morsel of the food into his mouth. He could not eat the food which they had cooked for themselves. Became very, very sad. And Vaishnavi, the maid servant, somehow or the other tried to console them. And she said, there is no point in going back to them because they will kill you. Because they are so much greedy and you are a burden on them. And there is no money left with you. And it's better to go further in Navdeep Dham, settle down over there and do your spirituality and bhakti over there. With the broken heart, Chandidas and Damayanti, they proceeded further along with Vaishnavi, their maid servant. And as soon as they reached Navdeep Dham, then again the memories of their children came into the minds of Chandidas and Damayanti. And somehow or the other, they wanted to go back once again. He said, no, no problem. They are our children and they will take care of us in our old age. To this, Vaishnavi, their maid servant, again came to the practical point. Are you a fool? You still think that they will take care of you? No point on this in going back. So this Chandidas understood and he made up his mind to proceed further and stay in Navdeep Dham only. And he requested Vaishnavi, he thanked her and he requested her to return back to Saptagram, their original village where they had come. So Vaishnavi returned back. Now, with the help of good people living in Navdeep Dham, the place was Kulyagram. This is where Chandidas settled down. So in the Kulyagram, there were some nice Brahmins, nice Vaishnavas. So with their help, he settled down and he, being very educated, Chandidas, and very good in business, and with the help of the local people, he borrowed some money from relatives and from some other good friends. He borrowed money and he opened a grocery shop. And because he knew the business, the grocery shop flourished. And the local people, when they heard the story of Chandidas and his sons, they understood the whole story and they supported him. They started buying the things from him, and his grocery shop, it sort of was accepted by the locals over there, and they started buying the things from him. And Chandidas also was now a totally different person. Earlier in Saptagram, when he was a goldsmith and had accumulated a lot of wealth, he was not supporting the Vaishnavas. He was not spending money on them. He was not giving them alms and food, etc. But now, when his grocery shop started flourishing, he started supporting the Vaishnavas and the Brahmins and ensured that at least one Brahman was given food on daily basis. So this went on for quite a few months. Nearly 6 months elapsed, and he became friendly with a local Grest Brahman named Anantanath, Anantadas. Anantadas was a Grihastha Brahman, and he used to convey katha or spiritual talks in the evenings on daily basis. And Chandidas used to go and attend those katha or the spiritual talks in the evenings, and he became sort of friendly with Anant Das, the householder Brahmin living in Kulyagram, Navdeep Dham. One day, Chandidas asked him a question to Anantadas, the Brahman, the householder Brahman who was living there with his wife, and their children had been married now. So he asked a question, Chandidas, to Anandas as to what is material existence, what is sansar, what is the world, what is material existence. So this Anandas replied that this is a very deep question, a very deep rooted question. And let's go to the other side of the river, Godur Dham, Godru Dham, which is the other side of the river where all the Vaishnavas live. The Paramans Babaji, the Vaishnav Das, the Lahiri Mashaji, Anant Das, and they were all living over there and they were very much educated. So they decided to go over there. And the day when they decided to cross the river and go to Godrum Dham, their Chandidas' wife, Damanti, also expressed her desire to go along with them. To this, the Yadav Das, sorry, his name was not Anand Das, his name was Yadav Das, the Grihastha Brahman. The Yadav Das then reasoned out with Damayanti, wife of Chandidas, that she should not accompany them because the Vaishnavas over there are all saints over there and they are in the what you call sannyas stage of varnashram, and they will not like a woman to be approaching them. They cannot face a woman. They are not allowed, and they do not face a woman over there. So she will be out of place over there. But Damayanti insisted that she will go, and she said, "Okay, I will not go to their grove or to their, immediate ashram, and I will stay out, and I will have the darshan. I will do the Danvat Parnam or prostrate to the Vaishnavas from a very distant place, but I will go with you." So she also went, and when the place came over there, she stayed away. She did not enter the ashram of the Vaishnavas, and she did her Danvat Pranam, and she stayed there at a comfortable place where um, she could rest over there and wait for Chandidas and Yadav Das to come back. And there they met the Vaishnavas, and the Kirtan was going on, and they listened to them, to their discussions, and the one of the Brahmins over there, one of the Vaishnavas over there, he knew Yadav Das, and he inquired from Yadav Das, "Now today you have brought a new person. Who's he? Who is Chandidas?" I mean, he didn't know the name, but he pointed it towards him. Who is this person? To this, Yadav Das revealed the entire story of Chandidas to the Vaishnav Anant Das. And after listening to the story of Chandidas, Ananda said, "What you have told me, this is sansar. This is material existence." Okay. So Chandidas listened to the discussions and the katha and the spiritual talks of Anandas, and he was quite impressed. And he very humbly inquired from Anandas. He said, "My humble prayer to you, will you be merciful to me and clearly explain to me what is material existence?" To this, Anandas then approached his guru, Paramhans Babaji, to answer this question, as it was very deep rooted and required a lot of education and skills and experience and knowledge and spiritual knowledge to reply to this question. To this, Paramhans Babaji said, "No, Anandas, you are qualified enough. You answer this question." So rest of the chapter is about the answer to this question. What is material existence? Nitya Dharma and material existence, which is also the title of this chapter. So Anandas takes the lead and starts replying to this question, what is material existence? He says the jivas exist in two states, the liberated state or muktadas and the material bondage, sansar bhadandas. The people who are muktadas, they are worshippers of Krishna Bhagwanji all the time. And the people who are sansar bhadandas, who are in material bondage, they are after Maya. The Maya has engulfed them, the material things, for sense gratifications. So they are of those types of people, and they are the Sansar Bhadadas. And further, their the Sansar Bhadadas people are full of egoism also. And there are two concepts Anandas told, special characteristics of such people, and that was I and mine. I did this. I am human being. I am a devta. I am an outcast. I am diseased. I am a king. I am very rich. I am hungry. I am dishonored. I am charitable. I am a husband. I am a wife. I am a father. I am a son. All the time, I is all there. And this is known as ahamta, which literally means the sense of I-ness or false egoism. And the second thing, apart from this ahamta or I-ness, another function known as mamta or possessiveness or sense of myness is prevalent in such people. And this is exemplified in attitudes such as, this is my house, this is my possession, this is my wealth, these are my children, this is my wife, this is my husband, this is my father, this is my mother, this is my caste, this is my race, this is my strength, this is my beauty, this is my quality, this is my learning, and so on. The colossal affair that brings the conception of I and mine into play is known as sansar or material existence. This was clarified by the Vaishnav, the senior Vaishnav, Anantadas. Further, he says the defect is in the pure state. The conceptions of I and my are real, whereas in material existence, they are all imaginary. When a spiritual person talks about I and mine, they are real. But when a Buddha Jeev talks about I and me, I and mine, they're all imaginary, they're all temporary. All the relatives, whoever they say, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine, they are all going to be there for temporary. And they talk about their wealth, their household things, their possessions, their jobs, their relations, everything is temporary. Whereas a spiritual person, when talks about my Krishna, my, I mean, a privileged situation of being a servant of Krishna, And then he talks about the material nature, which is sun, the moon, the trees, the mountains, the rivers, the sky, the air. These are all permanent things. So that is the difference between Baddha Jeev and the Mukta Jeev or the free Jeev. He talks about the material existence of such people. And then Anandas further says, Bhagwan is the complete spiritual entity, Purna Chit Vastu, and the Jivas are the particles of spirit. Chit Kan, they are only a Kan, only a very small particle of the Bhagwanji. But Bhagwanji is Purna Chit Vastu, complete spiritual entity. And he further says, those jivas who turn away from Krishna desire to enjoy Maya, and Maya attracts them towards her by her potency. From that moment, our material state of existence comes into being, and our true spiritual identity disappears when we run after Maya. We therefore think, I am the enjoyer of Maya. This false egoism covers us with many varieties of false identities. To this Yadav Das, the Brahman who was living in Kulyagram and with whom Chandidas had associated and used to listen to his spiritual talks in the evenings. So Yadav Das, he then asks a question. Why is it that our true identity does not become manifest or revealed despite significant endeavor and efforts? To this, Anand Das Vaishnava replies, there are two types of endeavors, appropriate and inappropriate. Appropriate endeavors will certainly dissipate false egoism, but how can inappropriate endeavors ever do so? So Anand Das further says, some people think that their hearts will be purified if they follow Karma Kand or if they follow Ashtanga Yoga. These are all temporary things. This is another inappropriate endeavor. There are many, many other examples. The Karma Kand, all the activities that are done under Karma Kand and Ashtanga Yoga. These are all temporary. And then Yadav Das asks, okay, now tell me what are appropriate endeavors or efforts. So this Anandas replies, Sadhu Sang. Sadhu Sang or association of the devotees and Prapati or the surrender are the proper means and are appropriate activities for the devotees. It's also mentioned in Bhagavatam. It says, O sinless one, we are inquiring from you about the supreme benefit. In this material world, even half a moment's association with a Shuddha Bhakta is the greatest wealth for human beings. And in Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned in chapter number 7, shlok number 14. Deve heishai gunmai mam maya durtaya mamev ye praptante maya metan tarantite, which means that these human beings cannot cross over this maya by their own efforts, and therefore it is very difficult to overcome it. It's very difficult to overcome maya. Only those people, only those devotees who surrender onto Krishna Bhagwanji, only they can cross beyond this maya potency of Krishna Bhagwanji. So surrender is very, very important. People who surrender to Krishna Bhagwanji, only they can come out of the clutches of the material world or maya. So Chandidas further says, O great soul Anandas Babaji, I cannot understand your explanation very well. I have understood that we were pure entities and that due to our forgetfulness of Krishna Bhagwanji, we have fallen into the hands of Maya and are bound in this world. If we obtain Krishna's mercy, we can be delivered again, we can be freed again. Otherwise, we will remain in the same condition. We will remain chained by Maya. We will be always remaining in this jail. This world is termed as jail, where you repeatedly come again and again and you deliver your past karmas. Whatever good things and bad things you have done, you will get a result over here, and it is a jail. Birth after birth, birth after birth, you will keep on coming to this material world on this earth. Only a person who is totally into Krishna consciousness, he will reach the Golok Vrindavan Dham where Krishna Bhagwan Ji lives. And once a person reaches over there, he never comes back on the earth and he never takes a birth. There is no birth and death for him. Let's go further. Anandas further says, as long as the jivas focus their attention on Krishna, they maintain reverence for him. However, when they turn their attention away from Krishna, they desire material enjoyment. Krishna's potency, Maya, who is standing near them, then binds them and embraces them. They are not able to come out of it. So, this is what Ananda says about material existence, about Maya, in the question to Chandidas and by their Brahman, his associate Yadav Das. So further, Ananda says Krishna empowers the Jeev with his Chit Shakti so that Maya's power to attract the soul gradually diminishes or it wanes away. The Jiva then turns his back on Maya and desires to attain Krishna. He worships Krishna again and again and finally becomes competent to remain on his lotus feet. Therefore, Ananda says the only infallible method to cross this unsurmountable material existence is to chant Krishna Nam on the association of bhaktas. Always remain in association of sadhus and brahmins and bhaktas and chant Harinam. That is the only way to come out of this material world or Maya. To this, Yadav thus further asks the question, Babaji, the sadhus of whom you are speaking are also present in this world. They are also oppressed by the miseries of material existence. So how can they be delivered like from the other jivas? How can they deliver the jivas when they themselves are living in this material existence? How can the sadhus show the path to the jivas? Then what is the right path? Because they themselves are living in this material existence. To this, Anandas then replies, it is a fact that sadhus also live in this world, but there is a significant difference between an earthly life of sadhus and that of the jivas who are bewildered by Maya. There is a difference between the two. To this, Anandas then further replies, there are two categories of jivas who have fallen into the clutches of Maya. Some are completely absorbed in insignificant worldly pleasures, and the other are away from the worldly pleasures. Consequently, the people of this world may be roughly divided into two groups: those who lack the power to distinguish between spirit and matter, and those who possess such spiritual insight. Some people refer to those who have no such insight as material sense enjoyers, and to those who have insight as mumuksus, meaning those who seek liberation. The word mumuksa literally means the desire for mukti or liberation. When a mumuksu gives up his desire for liberation and engages in worshipping Bhagwanji, this bhajan is known as Shuddh Bhakti. So that is the answer given by Anandas to the question of Yadav Das. What is Shuddh Bhakti? The Shastras do not order one to give up mukti. Rather, when a person who desires liberation gains knowledge of the truth of Krishna and the jivas, he is liberated immediately. Be after Krishna, be after Krishna all the time, and all the good things will come to you. Even the liberation and the mukti will also come to you. It will come automatically. Then Ananda further says about the householders. It's a very interesting section of the chapter. Uh, Grest people, how they should live, everything about the Grest ashrams. The bhaktas of Krishna live in this world in two conditions, as householders or as saints or renunciants, people who have renounced the world. Yadavdas then further very curiously listens to Anandas, and Anandas says there are four categories of people who possess spiritual insight. Viveki, those who are conscious people. Mumuksa, those who desire liberation. Mukta, those who are liberated. And the Bhakta, and the Bhakta people who are deep into spirituality and worshipping Krishna Bhagwan Ji. They are the true people whom we should associate with Bhakta. We should not associate with the Viveki or Muksa or Muktaji because they have their own agenda. But a Bhakta has only one agenda of worshipping Krishna Bhagwan Ji, and he is not in any way associated with the material world and has crossed the river of Maya. He is away from them. And it is also mentioned over here that only association with the first type of mukta is beneficial. Nirbhed Mayavadis are offenders and association with them is forbidden. Mayavadis के साथ association नहीं करनी. The people who are after Maya, gradually withdraw yourself and associate with them is forbidden. Such people have been condemned in Shrimad Bhagavatam and it is mentioned in Canto 10 to 32. Anandas further says the fourth category of discriminating souls, the bhaktas, are attracted either to Bhagwan's opulent and majestic feature, Aishwarya, or to his sweet and inmate feature, Madhurya. The association of Bhagwan's bhakta is beneficial in all respect, particularly if one takes shelter of those bhaktas who are immersed in his sweetness. The transcendental mellows of bhakti will manifest in one's heart if you associate it with such bhaktas. Further, Ananda says bhaktas are either grest bhaktas or householders or tyagi bhaktas, those who have renounced household life. घर बार छोड़ दिया जिन्होंने, या तो घर में रहते हैं, they are called grest, and या तो त्यागी भक्ता जिन्होंने घर बार छोड़ दिया और घर से बाहर जाके भक्ति करते हैं. The people who have renounced the household life. Anandas further says, one does not become a grahast simply by building a house and living in it. The word grah in grahastha refers to the house that one establishes by accepting a suitable wife in marriage according to the Vedic rules and regulations. So he becomes a grahast only when he accepts a wife in marriage according to the Vedic rules and spiritual regulations. A bhakta who resides in such conditions and practices bhakti is known as grahast bhakta. The Jeev who is bound by Maya sees form and color through his eyes. Now he is describing the Jiva who is bound by Maya. What are his characteristics? He sees form and color through his eyes. He hears through his ears. He smells fragrance through the nose. He touches with the skin and he tastes with the tongue. The jiva enters the material world through these five senses and becomes attached to it. The more attached he is to gross matter, the more distant he is from Paramatma. And his condition is called Bahir Sansar, consciousness directed towards mundane existence. And those who are intoxicated with the mundane existence are known as Vishya, Vishyasis people, those who are attracted to worldly sense objects. When bhaktas, on the other hand, live as grahasthas, they are not like the Vishyas people or Visyashi people who merely seek to gratify their senses. A householder's dharma patni or a householder dharam patni is a dasi or maid servant of Krishna, and so are his sons and daughters. The eyes of all such family members are satisfied to behold the form of deity and objects related to Krishna. Through their eyes, they only see the deity and the Krishna, Bhagwanji, and all related to Krishna. And through their ears, they become fully satisfied to hear Hari Sankirtan and narrations. कानों से सिर्फ हरि कथा ही उनको अच्छी लगती है, वही वो सुनना चाहते हैं. And the words of also the sadhus. Their noses experience the satisfaction by smelling the aroma of tulsi and the other fragrant objects offered to the lotus feet of Krishna. Their tongues taste the nectar of Krishna Nam and their remains of food offered to Krishna. Their skin feels the delight from the touching the limbs of Shri Hari's Bhaktas. Their hopes, activities, desires, hospitality to guests, and service to the deity are all subordinate to their service to Krishna. सब कुछ secondary है, only primary activity of such householder bhaktas is Krishna bhakti, service to Krishna. Indeed, their entire life is a great festival consisting of Krishna Nam, mercy to Jiva, and service to Vaishnavas. So these are the few more things where Anant Das tells about a Grest Bhakta, the true person who is living a Grest. You can achieve Bhagwanji even while living in Grest in as a householder. And the examples have been given about Pandavas and many rishis and many kings of the past. They were all householder. Even Janak, King Janak, Sita Mata's father, even he was a householder. As true example of one should associate or become and live as a householder. Then Yadav Das asks, how can such people practice Shuddh Bhakti? To this, Anandas replies, Grahastha Vaishnavas are certainly obliged to carry out social conventions such as getting their sons and daughters married, performing ceremonial functions for the deceased father or Shraddh, and other similar responsibilities. However, they should not engage in Kamya Kand, ritualistic activities meant only to fulfill material ambitions. And they should not depend on anything other than their own self. They should be all the time focused within themselves, in the Paramatma who is living inside. They should not be attracted and spending on the material things outside, in the outside world. And their dependency on the outside world should also be very, very limited, only to retain their body and soul together. And this is called Nirpeksh. Nirapeksh, devoid of all needs. कोई जरूरतें ही नहीं. But as long as the human body is there, you need food, you need clothing, only bare minimum necessities. And our Shastras have recommended that there is nothing wrong in it to do madhukari or to do begging for minimum needs. And the people do understand, the devotees do understand that this person is not into earning activities, and they very willingly give alms or food and bare minimum clothing to such sannyasis. And there is nothing wrong in it. And this word is called madhukari, and it is recommended in our shastras also. In fact, the people who are nirpeksh, who do not have any external needs, they should not be doing any activity where money is involved. I know it is very challenging in this Kali Yuga, but please remember this. This is what is ultimately aimed. Whether they achieve perfection in this direction or not, that is, I mean, something challenging in this Kali Yuga. But that is the aim. Nothing to do anything which has money involved in this, in activities. Remain away from Maya. Remain away from money dealings. Remain away from wherever money is involved. Do madhukari. God says, Krishna says, I'll take care of your needs, but I will not take care of your greed. भगवान देंगे, आप भगवान की डायरेक्शन में चलो. He will give if you go into the direction of Krishna Bhagwan ji. Somehow or the other, your needs will, whatever you need, it will reach you through some devotee, through some Vaishnavas, through some Brahman, through some child, through some lady, some businessman or entrepreneur. Somehow or the other, it will reach you. All your needs will reach you. And this is tested. It is true. So remember the word nirpeksh. So thus, such people are nirpeksh. They do not have any needs. They are devoid of all needs, and whatever they need, I mean, they depend upon Krishna Bhagwan ji. Somehow or the other, Krishna Bhagwan will take care of them, and they do not have any hesitation in following Madhukari, or, or what you may call in Kali begging. Okay. Nirpeksh really means to reduce one's necessities as far as possible, for no one can be absolutely independent as long as he has a material body. Still, it is best to be as free as possible from material dependency, for that is more conducive to advancement in bhakti. All the activities that I mentioned before become free from defect only when one links them to Krishna Bhagwan ji. So that is very important. And little bit Anandas ji describes about the Shrad. Shrad, that is a ceremony to take care of how to service the elders in the family who have died. Shrad, it is called. So on the occasion of the Shrad ceremony, Ananda says one should first offer the forefathers the remnants of the food that has been offered to Sri Krishna, and then feed the Brahmins and Vaishnavas. Okay. Even the food that is given to the Vaishnava and the Brahmins, it should first be offered to Krishna Bhagwanji, and only the prasad should be given to them. If Grest Vaishnava observes the Shraddh ceremony in this way, it is favorable to that bhakti that is recommended. First offer to Krishna Bhagwanji, and then offer to Brahmins and Vaishnavas. One should perform ordinary activities in a renounced spirit and without attachment for the result. And one should perform spiritual activities in the association of bhaktas. Then there will be no fault. Always remain in association of bhaktas, sadhus, saints, and as per whatever is mentioned in the scriptures, in our shastras. Consider for a moment that most of the Shriman Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's association They were all Grest Bhaktas. And so were many Rajarishis, saintly kings, and Devrishis, great sages from ancient times. Dhruv, Prahlad, and the Pandavas, they were all Grest Bhaktas. And I gave the example of even Janak, King Janak. They were all Grest people. You should know that Grast Bhaktas are also highly respected in this world. And this further, Yadav Das asked questions. He asked, kindly explain me, one becomes eligible to renounce household food. That is, kindly explain how one becomes eligible to renounce the household life. To this, Anandas replies, there are two tendencies of human beings, that is, Bahirmukha and the Antarmukha. And when there is no desire of Bahirmukha, that is, external world's enjoyment of the material things, and he's all the time having a tendency of looking within, which is called Antarmukha Parvati. When he develops that Parvati or desires to look within him, to be all the time meditating on the Paramatma sitting inside, Antarmukha Parvati. When he reaches that state, that is the stage when one can be eligible to renounce the household life. घर छोड़ सकते हो तब मटेरियल चीजें कुछ है भी नहीं. Further, Anandas describes a lot about when to leave a household life. Then question is asked by Yadav Das. What are the symptoms of bhakta who is eligible to give up household life? To this, Anandas replies, he should be free from the desire to associate with the opposite sex. He should have unrestricted mercy towards all living entities. He should be completely indifferent towards endeavors to accumulate wealth, and he should strive only in times of need to acquire food and clothing suitable for maintaining himself. He should have unconditional love for Krishna, and he should shun the association of materialist people, and he should be free from attachment and aversion in life and death. So these are the symptoms of a household bhakta. Anandas further says, when these symptoms are manifested in a grast bhakta, he is no longer suited for engagement in karma, and he therefore renounces household life. Such nirpeksh bhakta is very, very rare, and one should consider himself extremely fortunate to be in association with them. So, just to recapitulate once again, we are on chapter number 7 of Jaiv, which is authored by Shri Bhakti Vinod Thakurji and commentary by Shri Bhakti Vinod Narayan Maharajji, and we are reading the chapter Nitya Dharma and Material Existence. Further, Anandas says, eligibility to renounce household has nothing to do with youth or old age. One can renounce a household even when one is young, in youth, not necessarily always in old age. And the example given is about Shukdev Maharaj, son of Vyasdev ji, who left the house immediately he was born because of his previous birth sukrutis, because of the very, very pious good deeds of the previous world. And then Yadav Das further asks, does a bhakta who have given up household life need to adopt the external dress of a renunciate? Bhairve kapde, the colored orange clothes. Should he wear those clothes? So Yadav Das asks from Anandas. And to this, Anandas replies that it is necessary to identify yourself as a saint, as a person who has given up the household, Just for that identification purpose only, such clothes should be worn. And if you wear such clothes, even your household people will not disturb you. They will not approach you. Right? And even the people in the public also, they will treat you accordingly. Right? They will not be asking questions or approaching you for material things. They will ask you questions regarding spirituality. So it is better to be identified for the sake of identification in the external world, that you may wear such Bhairve clothes or saffron colored clothes. So that is the answer to Yadav Das. And further, Yadav Das asks, what is the purpose of being identified by the signs of the dinosaur? So this, what is the purpose of this being identified? So this Ananda says, is very helpful to be identified as a member of the renounce order. A renunciate person's family member will no longer maintain a relationship with him and will easily give him away. They will give him up. He will no longer desire to enter the house, and a natural detachment will awaken in his heart, with a consequent fear of materialistic society. And then Yadav Das further asks, from whom should one accept the renounce order? To this, Anand Das replies, one should accept the renounce order only from a person who himself is a renounced person. He should not accept a renounce order from a grest person because he does not have any experience of a sannyasi. So संन्यास का ओथ और शपथ सिर्फ सन्यासी से ही लेनी चाहिए. So this is mentioned in our shastras. Never take oath of sannyasi from a grest person. It should be always from a sannyasi person because he has a experience. And then very interesting, beautiful question asks by Yadav Das. What is the criteria that a guru should see while giving the initiation or renounce order or sannyas order to a devotee? So this Anand Das replies, a guru must first consider whether or not the disciple is qualified. He should see if the grest bhakta, on the strength of Krishna bhakti, has acquired spiritual temperament characterized by qualities such as full control of the mind and senses. Control of mind and senses. Very important. Has the hankering for wealth and satisfaction of the tongue been uprooted or not? The guru should keep the disciple with him for some time in order to examine him thoroughly, and he may initiate him into the renounce order when he finds that he is suitable candidate. Under no circumstances should he offer initiation prior to this. If the Guru offers initiation to a person who is unqualified, please remember it is mentioned in the book, he himself will also certainly fall down himself. And Yadav Das then listens to the story of Chota Haridas. He listens to the story of Chota Haridas, example given uh, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had given him punishment because he had taken the saintly or sannyasi order, but he was found talking to a woman. He had taken charity from a woman and he had interacted with a woman, and this was not approved by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then ultimately, he told him that he should not come to the ashram at all. And this Chota Haridas could not tolerate, and he, after a few months, committed suicide. Yadav Das further asks, it is proper to construct a monastery to establish a worship of a deity after one has taken the renounce order. Is it necessary to build a monastery to do deity worship? To this, uh, Anandas completely says a big no. It is not necessary that you do your puja and worshipping only in a monastery and do a deity establishment over there. No, it is not necessary. You can go to the mountains, you can go to the jungles, you can go to the secluded places, you can even stay in a temple of a householder inside their house. They all have the rich and the famous or the reasonably good people. They all have temples. You can stay over there also. So it's not necessary that you build up a monastery of your own and then establish deity and then do worship over there. Further, Yadav Das asks, what do you call renunciate who set up a monastery and then live like a householder? To this, Anandas very shrewdly says, such people are those people who eat their own vomit. If you build a monastery or a ashram and live inside there like a householder person, it is like a person who is eating his vomit. So it should not be done at all. Further, Yadav Das asks, how can one say that they have given up Vaishnavism as long as they don't give up chanting of Harinam? So here Anand Das explains the difference between Namja and what is called Harinam, which is having faults or offenses. Do not commit offenses. He explains that while doing Harinam. There are 10 offenses which are generally avoided while doing Harinam, and one should do only pure Harinam. Fully focused Harinam, devoid of those 10 offenses. Then Anandas further says there is no room for hypocrisy in Krishna centered domestic life. And then Yadavs then asks, how can a person be rectified if he is committing mistake in as a Grahas Bhakta? To this Anandas says, he will be counted amongst the Bhaktas again when he gives up all these offenses, constantly chants Sri Nam and he sheds the tears of repentance. And further, Ananda says, all jivas, they have right to Vaishnav Dharma, even if they are born in a Shudra family or in an outcast family and not in a Brahman family. Everybody has a right to follow Vaishnav Dharma. As long as they're following Krishna, they are all eligible to follow Vaishnav Dharma. Then for Yadav Das further asks, does a Grahastha have the right to wear the garments of a mendicant while he is still a householder? Does he have to wear those saffron color clothes even if he is a householder? And this Anandas very strongly says no. A person who is a householder should not wear those saffron colored clothes or those orange color clothes, and this is a big, big no to it. Further, Yadav Das. Yadav Das is recapitulate is the Brahman who was living in Kulyagram where Chandi Das had finally settled down with his grocery shop, and he used to listen to that Brahman Yadav Das spiritual talks in the evenings. So Yadav Das, after asking all these questions from Vaishnav, senior Vaishnav Ananta Das in Godhrum Dham, he asked so many questions, and Anand Das replied to each and every question very beautifully. And when he was exhausted with his questions, he turns to Chandidas. Are you now satisfied? Have you got the answer to what is material existence, what is material world, and what is Nitya Dharma, what is permanent Dharma? Have you now understood? To this, Chandidas, he very respectfully did Danvat Pranam to Anandas and to all the Vaishnavas Paramas Babaji, Lahari Mashaji, and to Vaishnav Das and to Anand Das. He says, thank you very much. And it has turned my life for the better. And I will keep on coming to you people for more clarification and more guidance and more wisdom. And with this, they left Bodhram Dham, and then they, on the way back, they took the association of the wife of Chandidas, Demanti, who was sitting outside the ashram from a distance. She was doing all the time prostration and Danvat Pranams, and they, all the three of them, crossed the river, and they came back to Kulia Gram, and then on they started living over there with a new and informed life. So with this, we come to the end of the chapter. So thank you very much for being with me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That ends the chapter Nitya Dharma and Material Existence, chapter number 7 of the Granth and the book Jaiv Dharma, authored by Shri Bhakti Vinod Thakur ji, with a commentary by Shri Bhakti Vedant Narayan Maharaj ji. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.